Hello everyone and welcome to the County Buzz. I'm Dick Wolff. We're going to be speaking with Winchester Police Chief Dennis Young today. He's got some word about drugs in not only in our community, but a statewide problem. And we'll talk with him about that right after this.
When it comes to furniture, appliances, electronics, and yard equipment, start with a company you can trust. Badcock Home Furniture and More in Winchester has spent years faithfully serving their community and their customers. Badcock Furniture has always been ahead of the rest when it comes to brand name furniture, appliances, and electronics. That's why Badcock is the best. Badcock continues to renovate their store plan with new top-of-the-line quality products that fit your taste and budget and make your life at home easier than ever. Upgrade your appliances today. Ranges, freezers, refrigerators, microwaves, vacuums, and stay comfortable through the years with air conditioners and infrared quartz fireplace heaters in several sizes and designs. Live healthy and sleep better with iComfort Sleep Systems by Serta, plus sleep accessories, support systems, and foundations from other major brands. Badcock carries state-of-the-art entertainment equipment, TVs, DVD players, home theaters, computers, tablets, printers, and more, and financing is available. Visit Gregor K. Gillum and the staff at Badcock Home Furniture and More today. 405 Bypass Road in Winchester. Call 931-962-4991. We make it easy. We deliver. Badcock Home Furniture and More in Winchester.
Welcome back, everyone, to the County Buzz, and my guest today is Chief Dennis Young. Good morning, Dennis, and thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Thanks me for being in your office.
That's fine. I'll welcome you here, buddy.
Yeah, we get to go off campus every once in a while and mix with the population. So, drugs are a problem, and you're off to Nashville on Friday with some business in mind. Yes,
I've been invited to TBI headquarters Friday to speak with other state officials. I'm not a state official, but they asked for a local to come in. So they invited me to come in for a local perspective on a recent problem that we're seeing in the drugs, not only in our community but across the state. We've got a very serious problem, and it's become a public health emergency, and that's the reason we're doing a statewide press conference.
When you and I first met some time ago, the problem was methamphetamines, and you were stirring up the masses, saying, we've got to put an end to it. And at one point, Franklin County was one of the leading manufacturers of that substance.
We were when I first took over in 15 years ago in Winchester, come next month. The meth had taken over Franklin County, and I know Franklin County was a hub for the production of methamphetamine.
I'm stuck in your pocket.
You pardon my phone. But the meth addiction problem that we had was just rampant in our community. Franklin County was not only number one in the state of Tennessee, it was number one in the southeastern United States. And we had the most serious meth problem in the whole southeast region of the United States. And so we tackled it head on. That's what we do, and we hit it from every angle. We hit it from addiction side part, getting treatment for people, and we started a drug court program and got treatment started for people that were addicted to meth. And we buckled down on it, and we buckled down really hard with strong partnerships with state and federal agencies, and started moving people out of our main cookers, our main sellers and traffickers of methamphetamine, moving that out. And through the years, we adopted different policies, and I think it was 2 years ago, whatever, we started the Stop Meth Now campaign. Finally had enough of it, and we locally, and we got a lot of national media for doing this, but we took local ordinances and to eliminate the primary precursor that was needed for the manufacture of methamphetamine, was simply pseudoephedrine. And so we made it prescription only in our county, and we went around the surrounding agencies, the surrounding counties, and got them to do it too. And the pharmacists were on board with us, the doctors were on board with us, and we probably 90% plus eliminated the manufacture of methamphetamine in our area. I know 2 years ago, because of what we did, I ended up traveling the state and making talks with city councils from Mississippi River to Johnson City, actually, and all in between. And I spent the whole year traveling, and we was able to get a state law passed and to change the guidelines on how much could go out and be sold without a prescription. We tried to get prescription on it, but we couldn't get it through the state legislature. The pharmaceutical industry has a lot of influence in the state legislature, so to put it nicely. And but we was able to make a lot stronger restrictions on that. And what we have seen is a large percentage reduction in meth across the state. But it started right here, and I reckon that's one reason they called me, because of the new problem we're having. They've invited me in on that too, to start more of a grassroots campaign and public education campaign to make people aware of what's going on.
Yeah, we mentioned, it started with meth, and and there's just seems to be, every time you turn around, there's a new sort of a narcotic on the drug, a new kind of pill, a new kind of smoke. What is the public's fascination with these kinds of narcotics? They know they're destructive.
Dick, we have become a drug addicted society. I mean, let's just be frank about it. We have become a drug addicted society. No matter what the problem is, there's a pill for it. People are more worried about getting high than anything else. And it just goes from one to the other. And what we see mostly with people that are addicted, they start out on marijuana, and then once you take marijuana for a while, they don't get you high enough anymore, so you want to graduate up, and you go to meth or cocaine or crack or prescription painkillers. And now our number one drug that we are dealing with, we are having some Mexican meth ice that's coming in, backfilling from our production days, because we still have meth addicts here. But now we're seeing prescription painkillers. And now from a breed off prescription painkillers, we're going over into the black market of heroin and fentanyl is coming in into our area. But I think we have a very drug addicted society in Tennessee. As a state, as a whole, ranks in the top 3 states in the nation in drug addiction. And that is a problem that we have created. I think we have created it ourselves in Tennessee, and I think we need to take responsibility for our own problems. This, as a citizen, as a voter, not only as a police chief, but as a citizen, I think we need to recognize that we do have a problem, and it's on every level. It's on every sector. It's in the home, and I think as parents and grandparents, I don't think we educate our kids and grandkids like our parents educated us back in the day. I was literally scared to death to do drugs when I grew up. That's all I heard at home. Drugs kill, drugs kill, drugs kill. And it was hammered into my head. So when that opportunity came, every kid's going to have that opportunity face them, or that peer pressure face them. I made decisions to stay away from it. I had some close friends of mine that didn't. That's the reason I'm in law enforcement today. A lot of people don't know that, but I had a starting basketball team. I was one of them, and we went to school, we went to grade school together, and as we growed up through middle school to high school, the difference is the other 4 members of my starting basketball team died before the age of 21, and from alcoholism or drug addiction or whatever. And I decided to get in law enforcement after that. After my fourth friend died, I decided to do what I do, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
You were instrumental in getting that weed and feed grants here in Franklin County that did a lot toward sort of turning the corner on that meth problem.
Yes, sir, I did.
And you say the people are addicted. We're not just talking about a kid problem. These aren't just kids taking these drugs. These are people of all ages.
It's all demographics, of all socioeconomic structures. They don't follow race. They don't follow age group. They don't follow sex. We have 12-year-olds. We have 70-year-olds. So it's all in between, and it affects everybody. It really does, and it breaks your heart that that you see families completely tore apart because of somebody in their family that's on drugs or in jail because of drugs or drug-related issues or crime related to their habit. But what we did, you brought up the weed and seed. I went through, in the heat of the meth thing, I went through to a conference with the U.S. Attorney's Office, and they had this cute little colonel there. Looked a lot like you, Dick. But he actually reminded me of the little old man on the Six Flag commercial, and I actually have a PowerPoint with that video on it because it said he reminded me of Colonel Murphy. And he showed us the weed and seed strategy, which was designed for inner cities, for government housing areas, blocks, cities within a city, to target a certain area of a city's high crime area, and it's to go in and weed out the drug dealers, the gangs, the guns, violence. Those people, take them out of the community. And those addicted still live in that community. Bring in public service to those people, treatment, addiction, education, help them get their GEDs, help them get a job, whatever, and rebuild that community from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, as we weed out the bad guys, you take what's left and do away with the demand. And if we don't fix the addiction problem, we're never going to fix the drug dealing problem. Because as long as we leave, the number one sin to me is greed.
That's right.
So greedy people will do anything for money, and they have no complete disregard for human life. Drug dealers, I hate the word non-violent offender because they are violent. When you see people dying, people turning to prostitution and sold into prostitution because of drugs, it's a violent, very violent society. And to say these major drug dealers are not violent is crazy. It's beyond crazy. So we have to remove these drug dealers, and we as a society have to realize that. But again, the same route, we also have to remember those people addicted to drugs is also a medical condition. And most of those people who are addicted to drugs do not want to be addicted. I've helped nurses. I know police officers that lost their careers because they got hooked on prescription medication while they was recovering from an accident scene. I've known, like I say, nurses that wonderful people that became addicted to pills because they went through a surgery, and what we found out working through our drug court program that we created, it's a chemical imbalance in your brain that makes you more prone to addiction. Some people was talking about smoking beforehand. Some people are addicted to cigarettes. I had an uncle who could smoke all day long, lay him down, and I smoked for 6 more months. I was opposite. I chain smoked for years. But I think it's a chemical makeup. And I think it's what I had to realize as a police chief, that most people that are addicted are not addicted by choice. They might be addicted by making bad decisions, trying something they did not realize they couldn't handle, or they was involved in an accident, got hurt, or whatever, and have a pain issue that because of taking all these strong narcotics, they became addicted to them. And there's also the pharmaceutical industry has a lot to be blamed for this too. A lot to be blamed for it. The OxyContin is the number one pain drug out there right now, and it is an opiate. It's a heroin. It's a manufactured pill, heroin. OxyContin was manufactured by the pharmaceutical industry, and it was marketed to the medical profession as a narcotic that was non-addictive. It's true. It's true. They marketed it as a non-addictive. They went to medical schools, they went to colleges, they instructed doctors. I read an article yesterday from the CDC, Center for Disease Control. I think it's Dr. Fadden was talking about he was taught in medical school to use this drug because his patients would not get addicted. And it's one of the most highly addicted in the pharmaceutical industry knew that. They knew that, but yet they still told that lie to market their product. And because of that push and that marketing scheme by the pharmaceutical industry, all the doctors started prescribing OxyContin because they thought that was a safe drug for their patients. And what they've done, though, they created a bunch of drug addicts, a bunch of good people that went for help have turned into addicts. And as we pull back on the pain pill clinics, that we have 6 pain clinics here in our county, we working on restricting their prescribing practices. The majority of everybody we deal with are legit. We have some that are not operating above board, in my opinion. But you have a backfill of heroin, and that's what we actually raised this alarm 5 years ago. In our first medical forum we had at Swanee, we had a United States Attorney General come in, and also Dr. Mutter, which is heading up the medical side for the governor's office, was a wonderful cardiologist out of Chattanooga, brilliant man. His hand's big as both mine, by the way. He's humongous. I don't know how he did surgery, but he's a great guy, and I've become be good friends with him over the years. But he said back then, 5 years ago, and he told the doctors in Franklin County, if you don't get a handle on what's going on, we're telling you right now, we're fixing to create a heroin epidemic in the state of Tennessee.
A dire warning. We're going to have more with Dennis Young in a few minutes. We'll be right back after these. Whatever your shipping needs, Mr. Postman is where you want to go. Convenient across from the post office in Winchester. Take your packages or bring the item unpacked and they'll carefully box it and send it off for safe delivery. Anywhere. Yes, in or out of the USA, Mr. Postman can get it there quickly. There's more. Get a box number with a street address. Start a background check with safe and secure fingerprinting. Oh wait, forgot that card to go with that present? Not a problem. A good selection of cards, funny, faithful, and family. Mr. Postman, across from the post office, Winchester. Welcome back, everyone, to the County Buzz. I'm here with Winchester Police Chief Dennis Young. We've been talking about drugs and how addictive people are, and how OxyContin is kind of a gateway drug. But it seems that every time we get familiar with one drug, there's a new one coming up. And you talked about people's greed earlier. So what this news conference in Nashville, what is the focus on today's drugs?
Well, it is as you say, it's to spill off from the OxyContin, the hydrocodone, and the pills that the cocktails has been going out in prescription drugs, but it's pushing us back toward another thing. A little over a year ago, we were alerted to law enforcement. The Mexican cartels were bringing in a lot of heroin, a lot of black tar heroin, powder heroin, but they were bringing in a lower grade heroin, but they was also bringing in powdered fentanyl. Now, fentanyl is the active ingredient. It's a synthetic morphine, which is 100 times stronger than regular morphine, and it's used in what they call a pain patch or a fentanyl patch. So they're taking the powdered fentanyl and mixing it with the heroin to boost up the strength of the heroin that they're bringing in, the low budget heroin they're buying, and they're bringing it in. So what we've seen, last month we had about a dozen overdoses here in Franklin County, and it's 2 different drugs. I'll stick with the fentanyl now. But people that were taking what looked to be like a Percocet is a pain pill. They were stamped Percocet, stamped on the backside, 10 325s. Zach Barkins, same color, same everything. And we had people overdosing on those pills and dying. They had one death that we're aware of in Franklin County on those pills, but they weren't Percocet. The active ingredient was fentanyl. What we have is clandestine labs being set up with a pill press, stamping out fake Percocet, fake Oxys across the state, fake hydros, and they're using the heroin and the fentanyl in these homemade labs, pressing these pills out for those people that go to the pain clinics or go to their doctor and they run out of pills. They're buying them on the street. You used to, they buy them from other people that have prescriptions. And we had a lot of people using the pain clinics just to get a prescription and go out of the street and sell the pills. They really didn't need the pain pills. We busted hundreds of those. But now, because of the reduced supply of pain pills that we're reducing, because we're having to get those pain clinics in order, it's getting backfilled by drug dealers. And they're very innovative drug dealers, and they're selling these fake pills with fentanyl in them. Fentanyl, if you get it on your skin, it will overdose you. Just a powder. The direct contact, skin contact with fentanyl. So it's like Russian roulette. You take one of these pills, it might be 5% fentanyl and the other part Tylenol or something ground up with it. Or it might be 100% fentanyl. It depends how good they mixed or match in these homemade labs. So what we're seeing across the state, we're seeing people overdosing and dying from these pills. That's part of the press conference tomorrow on that. We're not the only ones seeing them. They're seeing them across the state. Off the air, I was telling you, we've received calls from Memphis this morning because of our Facebook post here is gotten Memphis, and citizens in Memphis is calling us about their loved ones taking these fake pills and dying. So it's become a public health emergency across the state because of the unknown quantities of these pills are out there, and they're manufacturing these pills. We're diligently working on that side of that, but I felt compelled to alert the public about the problem. And I think our first duty is to save lives and prevent things from happening. So I started that. We also had, on the other hand, we had a synthetic marijuana, and they call it on our street names, and they got several different names for it, but they call it Fruity Pebbles, and they market it and sell it on the store counter as a packaged potpourri. And it's got kids' names, Bam Bam and Diago and Diablo, or Fruity Pebbles, and things that draw kids' attention to. But what they're doing, they're spraying a synthetic marijuana chemical on green leafy material, selling this potpourri, but all the kids in High Times magazine, all them advertise it as synthetic marijuana, so the kids know what it is. We started having kids pass out, take one puff of it and just fall from out. We've had one child have a bad car wreck. We had a child that ended up in intensive care with his organs shut down. I'm talking about a child under the age of 18. So we have that synthetic marijuana problem here in the county also. And we've been diligently working, and we've had a lot of support from the public on that, trying to get that off the street. We have identified the chemical. It's called AB Pinaca, Pinaca, and it's a chemical that's about 10 times stronger than marijuana, but it gives you the same euphoria, supposedly, as marijuana, but it affects people differently.
If they fall down knocked out, yes.
The inhalation of the smoke into their lungs has caused them completely black out. I mean, they just fall out on the ground. Wherever they take that puff, they fall out. And every one of them we've interviewed, exit interviews with those kids or people that's taken it. And we've actually interviewed adults that have grown people that's tried it also. And they're like, if you take it, you sit down, and you realize you're not going to work that day, you're going to be out all day long. And you know what, up front end, when you take one puff of it, you're out. Now, why they take it, I don't know, but they do. So now, like I say, the drug culture, and because of such high demand that we have of people wanting to use drugs, it's created an economic boom for drug dealers.
There's a roll up here of conflicted things. The people want them, and the drug dealers surely want to sell them. How do we get our arms around this so that more police may not be the answer? How do we get the public to stop wanting them if they're so addictive?
Well, I think what's happening, what we're seeing here, there's several different ways. It is a monster to get your hands around. You described that right. But you've got to attack it from every angle. It starts with education. You've got to be able to sit down with kids and start with youth. It starts with parents and grandparents. It starts with school teachers.
Ronnie, you have a visitor at my desk.
You've got to get your hands around the education and get it out there about it to start with. You've got to give them at least the knowledge they know. At least they know what they're getting into, to hope and pray they make the right decisions.
So you're talking about getting the information to parents and kids?
Yes, to parents, school teachers, churches, everybody involved in the community. But you also got to deal with treatment. I think you have to deal with people that are addicted, that have an addiction issue, and we need to remove the stigma of addiction. My brother's dead today, but my brother was an alcoholic. And he was the most wonderful person I've ever known. I know from a family experience losing somebody, okay? So addiction is nothing evil. You know, it's not leprosy or anything, and we don't need to be treated that way. And I think as a society, I think we need to reach back into our faith, into my Christian faith. I speak for myself. I think we need to look back and say, we do not need to be judging people. We need to be helping people. And we need to understand people are addicted, don't want to be addicted. I have a lot of great friends today.
I'm stuck in your pocket.
I will change that ringtone.
I like it.
I have a lot of great friends today that I've helped through treatment, or I put in jail. Over the years, they got clean in jail. Some of my best friends, every Christmas they call me. They don't ever forget about me. But those people call me. They're great people. They're productive citizens today. You know, Alan Burnett's a prime example. He works down here in the coalition.
I know Alan.
Alan, how many times we put him in jail? Alan's one of my best allies now, because he realized, hey, the police ain't the bad guy. They're just trying to get me straightened out. And we gave him an opportunity. He went through our drug court program. And Alan's been clean now for 8 years, I think.
He's got a responsible position
he works for the state.
Yes, he does.
He works for the state now. And we're seeing that culture change somewhat. But I think as a community, we need to embrace that. We need to embrace treatment programs. I think as every church needs to do that. I think when our drug court program has been great for our county. Since we started our drug court program, our crime rate here has dropped about 45% because of our Weed and Seed initiative. It's all part of it. But the Weed and Seed initiative is the strategy. It's probably the best strategy I've ever seen. But we got lucky here because of our citizens and of our community, because we never got funded. I don't know if people know that or not. We never got funded for our Weed and Seed. But we sat, and we tried about 3 years, and I know I talked to the city administrator about it, and she said, I'm done. We've done it for 3 years. We spent a year long working. It's a long application process. And we flew from Washington, D.C. to L.A., California. We went everywhere, went to all the meetings and all this stuff. And I told her, I said, I'm going to do the strategy. I don't care if I get funded or not. I'm going to find a way to do it because I believe in the strategy and I believe it will work. And that's what we did. And because of our efforts and our diligence, there was some they call SPIF-SIG money. And I don't know if it had anything to do with us or not, but anyway, the state decided to start setting up prevention coalitions. And they called us and said because of our diligence and demanding that we're going to do this on our own, they wanted us to be one of the first ones that got funded. And it started with the school system, and the school system was handling the money. And it's called State Incentive Grant Strategic Prevention Framework, because everybody has to have acronyms in the state government and the federal government. So, but we've got that money, and it started it out. And within the school system that we became, which was one of our partners, they came to, I reckon, the accountant or the nexus for the money, and because of that, we was able to get other grants. And we started out with nothing. We started a drug court program with zero money. It was all volunteer. Judge Perry volunteered. Libby Glassmeyer, Herb's wife, she worked for Community Corrections. She quit her job, volunteered her time. I volunteered. I know that Sheriff Fuller, several people in the community, the Methodist Church was very big on the front end of it. But we as a community done that. And we took up private donations. I had horse shows. I've done everything, done fundraisers. But we got people in treatment, and we made long-lasting friends with people I used to arrest. Sounds weird from a police chief, don't it?
Yeah, and on that, Dennis, I want to say thank you for sharing this with us today. This has been really an eye opener. The February 8th, there's going to be a meeting down at the annex where parents and folks are invited to come down and talk about drug issues and drug problems. And I assume that education remains one of the mainstays.
Education is key. It is key to prevention. Right now we've been very fortunate. We've had some great staff working for our coalition, and we have a very small staff, but very eager and very energetic staff. A lot of kids, well, a lot of parents know now, but every child that goes through juvenile court has to go through. We have an MRT. It's a moral recognition, I call it moral recognition. I can't say the R word. Training, and but it's about kids making the right decision. And it's about 6 weeks, I think about 6 weeks course. So every child that gets in trouble now, no matter what it is, they have to go through our MRT training. And they have to graduate from it. But about 85–90% of those kids that go through that program never get in trouble again. Same way with our drug court. Our drug court, people that's completed our drug court program, that have stayed in our program it takes at least 2 years to get out of it. And we're running about 93% success rate right now.
Well, no wonder they invited you to the state to talk. You got some results.
We have results here.
So
yes.
Anyhow, Chief, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, sir.
I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And if you're watching us on Comcast Channel 3, you can catch us anytime on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page. And if you've something you want to see on the Franklin County Buzz, just take a picture or a note, whatever you want. Hashtag it, Franklin County Buzz, and we'll find you. Thanks for watching.